Hello there, Sim0nTrains here, or some people like to call me Sim0nTrains. Now I've been waiting to do this blog for ages because at the moment, until today, it was an hourly service on this line. But now we've got 2 trains an hour, roughly 20 and 40 minutes apart of each other. So today's trip is actually going to be down the local line. So our first destination is my local station, Rugeley Town, Hednesford. Do we really have to do this station? Cannock, Landywood, Bloxwich North, Walsall, and our last station today, Bloxwich. Now in the video will be explained why I'm doing Walsall first for Bloxwich, but that will be later on in the video. So hopefully you've seen the 7 stations we will be filming at today. We're going to roll the intro. I'll meet you at our first location, Rugeley Town. Hello, my name is Simon and I'm a rail enthusiast for the town of Rugeley in Staffordshire. And I also use the railway to travel around the country. These are my journeys across the United Kingdom by the Iron Rails, which sometimes can go successful or end up in a disaster. The blog now approaching this YouTube channel is the next Sim0nTrains Railway Journey, and I welcome you to this service. So please sit back and enjoy the adventure. So my journey is actually started at Rugeley Town Railway Station today, but with a difference. Instead of catching a train to my next destination, which is either Rugeley Trent Valley or down the line towards Birmingham, Rugeley Town Railway Station is actually one of the 7 stations I'm visiting today. Now it is great to see a second service back on this line, because for the past 6 months, between roughly March and September, we've only had hourly service on this line. But now, since the school kids are going back to school and more people go back to work, we now got a train every 2 trains an hour basically. But it's not every 30 minutes, it's actually 20-minute gap and then a 40-minute gap. So we still get the 2 trains an hour, but it's not every 30 minutes. But it's great to see 2 trains an hour on this line again. And the 7th of September was always booked in for a trip down the local line towards Walsall. So I'm going to do the station history of Rugeley Town Railway Station, fill some more trains here before I move on to the next destination. Now this is the station history of Rugeley Town Railway Station, but the line actually went through here before the station was opened, because the railway through Rugeley was opened by the Cannock Railway in 1859, connecting the South Staffordshire Railway from Cannock to the London North Western Railway's Trent Valley line at Rugeley Trent Valley. Rugeley Town Station was opened much later. It was opened by the London North Western Railway on the 1st of June 1870. 5 years later, a branch line opened south of the station known as the Brereton Colliery Line. Now if you want to watch that video, because it did walk the Brereton Colliery Line from Rugeley Town Railway Station to Brickkill Pit, and that's going to be up in the link right now. But that line closed in 1960. Rugeley Town Station, along with the rest of the stations between Rugeley Trent Valley and Walsall, closed on the 18th of January 1965. Except for Rugeley Trent Valley and Walsall, they did not close. What we're looking at now is the site of the original station, which was 250 yards north of the current station. The current station we're looking at opened on the 2nd of June 1997 as Phase 2 of reopened the Chase line between Walsall to Rugeley Trent Valley, And a year later, phase 3, which was reinstating trains from Rugeley Town to Rugeley Trent Valley, was open to passenger traffic. So we're going to film a few more trains, mainly 350s, before we move on to the next destination, which will be Hednesford.
Please wear a face covering while in stations and travelling on public transport. And remember, some passengers have invisible disabilities or health conditions which may mean they are unable to wear one.
So we're now at the second station we're visiting, Hednesford. Now the only time I actually blogged at Hednesford was when I was doing that whole weekend of the Chase line changeover, when we went from diesel multiple units to electric multiple units, and then we travelled from Hednesford to Walsall. And then we also saw that day, the day before I travelled from Hednesford to Walsall, the first EMU going southbound, which was at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We did see a 350 the day before that went to Rugeley Town, the first EMU revenue service on the Chase line. That was back in like May 2019. But it's lovely to do a blog at this station because Hednesford is a nice railway station. I also do have someone else with me as well today. We do have to be social distance, of course, but just right behind me here is Jordan Stewart.
Hello everybody, how you all doing? Came down to Scotland for today. We can iron brew. Let's get this on the road.
It's nice to see Jordan again. We haven't seen him for a while, was it?
Yeah,
I think November last year, was it?
November last year.
Yeah. So Jordan's with me today. He's having a look down this local line with me. So I'm going to do the station history of Hednesford Railway Station, and then we're just going to film a couple more trains before I leave, and then I'll explain where I'm going next during the station history. Now this is the station history of Hednesford Station. Hednesford was opened by the Cannock Railway on the 7th of November 1859. The station, however, closed to passengers on the 18th of January 1965 and to goods on the 6th of September of the same year. But however, the line was kept open for freight because of the coal traffic to Rugeley Power Station. On the 10th of April 1989, British Rail reopened Hednesford Station as Phase 1 and reopened the Warsaw to Rugeley Trent Valley service, or the Chase line. At first it was a single platform, and what we're standing on right now is the single platform that was opened. But the second platform was added when the line was extended to Rugeley Town in 1997. So we're just going to film 2 more trains before we leave to our next destination, unfortunately, which is Cannock. This is the first station I visited today. Unfortunately, I do not want to be here, but unfortunately it has to be done. And I'd rather be in other places right now than this station, Cannock. In case you're wondering why I have to be a bit biased, because people from Rugeley don't like Cannock and people from Cannock don't like Rugeley, to be honest. It's like 2 football teams from rival clubs, but unfortunately Rugeley and Cannock don't really have a football team as much. But anyway, so there is a bit of a gripe with each other, but to be honest though, the station is quite okay. It is 2 platforms. West Midlands Railway serve this station, even though it's London North Western Railway trains stop here, because London North Western Railway and West Midlands Railway are based in the same company, just being divided into 2. And we're here for a bit filming some Class 350 Desiros, but before we carry on, we're going to do the station history of Cannock Station. And after the station's history, I want to show you something that is still here at Cannock, and it is railway related. So this is the station history of Cannock Station. Cannock was opened on the 1st of February 1858 by the South Staffordshire Railway. When it was opened, there was a terminus, but a year later the Cannock Railway extended their line to Rugeley on the 7th of November 1859. Cannock Station closed to passengers on the 18th of January 1965, but reopened on the 10th of April 1989. So we're just going to film a few more trains, mainly 350s again at this location, before we move on to the 4th station, Landywood. Now come to the north end of Cannock Station, because there is something that I do want to show you. Because as I mentioned in the history, the station closed in 1965 and this reopened in 1989. The 1989 platforms are here, but if we just go over this fence here, and you can just see down here, don't know how well you can make it out, just along here, the 1965 platforms are still here, but overgrown, and a bit smaller than they usually are. I'll try and zoom in the best I can on it, and then we're going to carry on filming. We're going to be leaving this place shortly, and thank God we're going to be leaving this place. Jordan's still with me. You alright?
Bigger boss.
And we're going to be moving on to our next destination, which will be Landywood. Now Landywood is the third least used Staffordshire railway station, but I'll explain that later on. So we're going to see this train coming now to take us to Landywood. Just coming up a second is Great Worley and Chesney Station, which is just here now. So we're at our next station we visited today, Landywood. Now one platform is here, but the other platform is just beyond that bridge there. It's a staggered platform. It is a West Midlands railway service operated by Class 350 Desiros from London North Western Railway, but it has two platforms here. Now currently Landywood is the third least used station in Staffordshire, but with the current situation you don't know if this is going to be the least used station in Staffordshire, or because we're waiting for the stats to come out in December for 2019 to 2020, and then next year we're waiting for the stats to come out for 2020 to 2021, and it's going to be quite interesting when the passenger usage figures come out to see who is the least used station in Staffordshire. Currently it is Longport, but this is the third least used, Longton is the second least used. But anyway, we're not here to talk about least used stations, we're actually talking here about Landywood. So we're going to do the station history of Landywood Station, then carry on filming some more trains. We're now going to do the station history of Landywood Station. Now, Landywood Station was opened in 1908 by the London North Western Railway as a halt, but this was only short-lived and it closed on the 1st of January 1916. The current station we're looking at was opened by British Rail on the 10th of April 1989, and Landywood is currently the third least used station in Staffordshire. Also, there was another station which was further north from here called Great Worling and Chesley Hayes, but that station closed in 1965. So we're going to film some more 350s at this station before we move on to the 5th station we're visiting, Bloxwich North. First of all, you do have to excuse the noise because there is a scrapyard right next door to this railway station. Now we're going to be leaving shortly to catch the 1202 to Bergen New Street to go to our next destination. Now our next destination is actually in the metropolitan borough of Walsall. So we are leaving Staffordshire to cross the boundary into the West Midlands. But our next station is Bloxwich North. But there is very something interesting about Bloxwich North, which I mentioned when we're at that next destination. So our 1202 to Bergen New Street should be arriving now. We're now at Bloxwich North railway station. Now this is one of two railway stations that serves Bloxwich. Now we're going to be here for an hour filming some trains, 350s of course again, and then our next destination is going to be Walsall. Now I'll explain why I'm doing Walsall next and not Bloxwich. Because when I get to Walsall, I'm going to use Walsall as a turnaround point, and when I go back to Bloxwich after I've been to Walsall, because the entrance and exits for Bloxwich is actually on the side to get off on go to Walsall. So basically when I go off at Bloxwich, the entrance and exit will be at the rear of the train. That's why I'm doing Walsall first, then Bloxwich. But this station here, Bloxwich North, is also an experimental station, which will explain the station's history in a bit. And what I've noticed is 35406 has not come back up the chase line, because when it gets to Bergen-New Street, it actually does a Bergen-New Street to Crewe-by-Stoke-on-Trent service next. So they are rotating the 350s, so we are getting different 350s on this line. So I'm now going to do the station history of Bloxwich North Station, and then carry on doing some more filming here. This is now the station history of Bloxwich North Station. Bloxwich North was opened on the 2nd of October 1990 by British Rail. A year later, after the line between Hednesford and Walsall was reopened to passenger traffic. I think this is the second youngest station on the line. The first youngest station is Rugeley Town, of course, because that was opened in 1997. Before the station reopened, it was actually going to be named Broad Lane, but this was changed to Bloxwich North. The station was opened as an experimental station to serve the housing estate, but it remained as a station on the chase line ever since. So thanks to the housing estate, Bloxwich North Station exists. But it's like someone said in all the stations, if you build a station, they will come. And that's exactly what happened with Bloxwich North in the 90s. But we are going to carry on filming some trains here, then move on to Walsall, as I mentioned before I did the station history, where I'm going to do Walsall next and not Bloxwich. I'm now at Warsaw Railway Station. I've been here over an hour filming trains now, but it was raining. It's just stopped raining now. Now the good thing is, it's got 100% timetable increase here now, so I can film at Warsaw properly. Because it's got 4 trains to Bergen New Street, even though 1 terminates at Bergen New Street, 1 goes to Bergen International and 2 go to Wolverhampton. Then you also got 2 services that terminate here at Walsall, and then 2 services that go to Rugeley Town Valley, which is good to see again. Unfortunately, there has been just 350 Desiros here, but we did get a freight train through here, which was from Hope to Warsaw Cement Siding, which was the Freightliner Class 66. Now I'm going to do the history of Warsaw Railway Station, but then I'm going to go over the other platform to catch my train to Bloxwich. Warsaw Station was opened by the South Staffordshire Railway on the 9th of April 1849 as part of their route from Dudley to Burton-on-Trent. The South Staffordshire Railway added a branch to Cannock in 1858. The line from Walsall to Wolverhampton opened in 1872 and the Sutton Park line opened in 1879. The station was rebuilt in 1883 and a fire broke out in the booking hall in 1916. A new booking hall was opened in 1923. The Midland line to Wolverhampton closed to passengers in 1931. The line was electrified in 1966 and the line to Hednesford reopened in 1989, and then it was extended to Rugeley in 1997. Services to Wolverhampton by Pleck Junction was reinstated to passengers in 1998, but these services were withdrawn in 2008. But there is one train that actually still uses that line, and in the future there could be a Wolverhampton to Walsall service by Darlaston reinstated, because they're planning to open 2 stations on that line. So I'm going to head over to platform 1 now to catch my train to Bloxwich. So I'm now at my final station, Bloxwich, on the chase line between Warsaw, which is in that direction there, and Rugeley Town Valley, which you can't see because the camera's in the way, to be honest. But to Bloxwich North and Rugeley is in that direction that I'm looking at. We're here just about an hour filming some trains here, mainly 350 Desiros. Now before I go with the station history, 9 minutes down the road is the original Bloxwich Station, which will be mentioned in the station history. Now next to it there was a level crossing there. Now the line speed of that level crossing was 20 miles an hour when the Class 170 DMUs were operating the line. But the level crossing is closed and the line speed has been increased. I don't know what the increased speed is now, but they have replaced the level crossing with like a green footbridge that spans over the railway. So I'm going to do the station history of Bloxwich Station now, and then we'll carry on doing some more filming. The site of the first Bloxwich Station opened on the 1st of February 1858 by the South Staffordshire Railway. This was close to the site of the former level crossing where today's green footbridge is. The station closed to goods on the 10th of August 1964 and closed to passengers on the 18th of January 1965. The station reopened on the 17th of April 1989 by British Rail. So we just filmed some 350 Desiros passing through before we head back home, back to Rugeley Town Station.
West Midlands.
I've now made it back to Rugeley Town Railway Station, and this is the summarisation up in the blog of today's events, but to be honest there's not really nothing to summarise about. Okay, yes, there was a couple of trains that were running late, like there's one that was off here this morning that was running about 10 minutes late to Rugeley Town Valley, but when it came back it was only 2 minutes late. But really there was nothing to summarise up at all because everything went to plan. We visited the 7 stations we wanted to visit. Apart from the rain at Walsall, everything went to plan, and we saw a lot of 350s of course. I think with sick and tired of seeing the 350s now, to be honest, but anyway, we did see some variations of them. The 350/1s, the /2s, the /3s and the /4s. The /4s were extra transpair lines. But I have noticed though on the chase line travelling down towards Walsall and back that it hasn't really been that busy. Like the first train I filmed here this morning was the 747 to Birmingham New Street. Now that on a normal day is usually busy as hell. The platform is full of people. But it wasn't even close to that. It was like a quarter full of people here. When I got to Landywood, there was only like a dozen people boarded the train. So the passengers are not back yet, but the services have been restored to a 20-minute and a 40-minute gap. So we do have the 2 trains an hour. So basically we've got 100% timetable on the chase line. I know there's some services that still not got the 100% yet. But it's nice to see our line having every 30-minute service. So I could go down to Birmingham and back and all that now, so it should be better. So as I mentioned, there's nothing to summarise up because the day actually went well and we visited all the stations that I wanted to visit. The next vlog I'm not sure when it will be, but it will be in a few days time because I've got another week off coming up, but I'm not doing like a staycation journey, that was just for the summer. So I'm going to see where it's going to take me, but I think I've got some few places that I want to go to. I know on a live stream someone did request Selly Oak and I will be visiting Selly Oak at some point during my week off. Not sure when yet, but it will be happening. So I think it's time to end the vlog now. Hopefully you enjoyed this. You feel free to subscribe, feel free to like it, and feel free to share it if you want to. I'm your host Sim0nTrains for this journey, and to be honest, this vlog has now been terminated at Rugeley Town Railway Station. Thank you for travelling with Sim0nTrains, and we'll see you for the next journey. Bye for now.